Welcome, folks, to Watching the Opinion Wrestling Edition. Wrestlemania 42 is tonight and tomorrow night. So this is the odds and my quick picks, who I'd like to win, who I think the WWE will have win, and a couple of thoughts, but we have a longer version of this as well with Roger, my other old school wrestling fan, that we go over a little bit of everything in our thoughts and other worthless babble. If you want to watch that as well. But we'll start here with, we have Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre. Fatu is a long, big-time favorite with a minus 1,000. Drew is a plus 550. I think that Fatu will win. I would want Drew to actually win this match personally, but this isn't one of those matches where it's worth betting on either, obviously, because I think a lot of people are expecting Fatu to win, and Drew in this has been having killer matches as of late for a while now, actually, and I think this will be one of those matches that could possibly be one of the big highlights of the evening. We got the men's tag team, the Uso Knights, at a minus 650 to win, Speed Vision at a plus 375. Now, I just don't see. This is one of those things. Okay, now, anyway, let me get to this first. I go to betonline.ag to get the odds for this, and I go to other places too to kind of see what the variation is. For these events, I put $20 into my account, and I break it up into like $5 or $3 to make. But this is just for fun. I'm not sitting here trying to make a fortune. This is just fun betting. Makes the batches a little bit more interesting. So when I break it up into, so if it's $5, obviously there's four matches. You're lucky if you're gonna get four matches to pick on, because most of them are pretty obvious. That's why wrestling isn't a thing that's bet on the mainstream, in this country. So I'll break it up, but I think in this case, in this prop bets for this too, because WrestleMania's got 13 matches, so there's more risk to go with. But so for this one, I'd actually put $5 down on the on Speed Vision, I'd like to call them, and you probably get almost $20 for this. I'm not going to type it in. I'm just going to take wild guesses on the exact amounts. But at the 375, because I don't know what's going on with the Uso Night thing. I don't know. Obviously, people think that they would win, and that's a fair case. But I feel like this is a good opportunity to come up with some sort of storyline for the Usos. There is a prop bet that Speed either gets pinned or either pins or takes the pin, as well. But I am going to go with Speed Vision. I think they will have. I still think they'll have Speed Vision win. I don't know why. I just think if they have actually use their brains and come up with good stories, they will go with that angle, because Vision needs a push, and Uso Knights don't necessarily need that. So we're gonna get into Seth and Gunther. Gunther is a by far favorite at a minus 650. Seth is also a plus 375. I will go with Gunther. I'm a fan of both these guys, but I think Gunther needs the push. I like the brief story they put in there where he's looking for a favor, which we all believe is going to get into a fight with Brock Lesnar. Seth could be an instance where Braun Breaker comes back and some shenanigans go on. Who knows? And I don't know what they're doing with the Seth storyline anyway, but I think Gunther, because he's kind of like the lone man out as far as storylines are concerned. So I think they'll give it to him. He already lost last year. So I'm going to go with Gunther, and no bets on that. Becky and AJ Lee. If you know me, I'm not a huge fan of AJ. I'm not even a fan of AJ Lee. I'm a huge fan or a small fan. Becky's a minus 550. AJ Lee's never around. I hate this idea where they keep having these championships that never appear, and they have it on these part-time people or people who they don't have storylines with or whatever. AJ Lee's not involved in any of the storyline. Becky is. I just think the belt needs to be on somebody who's going to be around. I think Becky is a favorite. Makes sense. I can see a lot of people picking AJ Lee, but I just don't. She's not around. Becky doesn't need the belt, obviously, but I think she does a great job putting over a lot of the other talent, and she could be used to do that once again and lose it just as quickly within a month, which is fine. If she can lose it during Raw or SmackDown event, whatever they're going to do with all that. So I'm going to go with Becky, and if you think AJ's going to win, I can see it going that way. She'll be worth the plus 375 to bet with as well. Women's tag match, we got Bailey Lyra at a minus 165 to win, which I think most of us believe that's what it is. Bellas are in second, which is weird, I think, at a plus 115. The Irresistible Force at a plus 500, and Bliss Flair at a plus 700. I would actually, this is one of those ones where I'll just, because there always a possibility any of these people could win, any of these teams could win. I will put $5 down on Flair Bliss for what, $35 to get out of that one. Why not? Worth the $5 risk, I think. Um, Even the Forces is worth the $5 risk, and I don't see a problem with, as far from a betting instant, that you clearly can't go wrong unless obviously you're going to bet the favorites of Bailey and Lyra. I never pick favorites to that degree. I mean, a plus 110, 115s might want to go win a couple of bucks, but so I will go with the bet on Bliss Flair just because it's for a long shot, but I think Bailey and Lyra will be the winners. I know it sounds weird to say that, but again, the betting is just betting because you never know. Stephanie Vacquier and Liv Morgan. Liv is a long favorite at a minus 600. Stephanie Vacquier is a plus 350. Again, this is one of those ones where you could risk going on a plus 350 on Steph and get winning your $15 or whatever it is. And Liv, I mean, I want Liv to win, and I think Liv will win. Again, she doesn't need it. Steph, I guess, needs it more, but there's one of those matches where whoever wins it doesn't. There's no wrong answer to this at all. All right, now that my phone stopped ringing. So anyway, yeah, like I said, go with Steph. It wouldn't be a problem. Another one where it's worth the risk to pick Stephanie. Cody and Orton, or is this the McAfee and Cody, or is this the McAfee and Jelly Roll match? I have no idea. Cody's the underdog at a plus 140. Orton's a minus 180. This is one of those things where the buildup has been fucking terrible. They could have done a much better job. This is everybody's big gripe. I don't even know why Orton would even go into SmackDown praising McAfee like he's like some sort of words of wisdom for Randy. It doesn't make any sense. He doesn't need an outsider's perspective like that. So it's stupid, it's dumb, and to pump him up is even worse. The double down, triple down on the whole thing's been ridiculous. This is potential to be a wonderful match, but the build up for it and our thoughts on it's been terrible. So it's almost like pick the least, make it as low as possible so it will look good no matter what. Doesn't need McAfee involved. This would be one of those great opportunities for them to save face and have Randy turn on McAfee type of deal and save this whole dumb bullshit storyline on this. I'm going with Orton's going to win, and he needs to win, and Cody needs to find a new way to go about doing this because Orton is still clearly the fan favorite, and people have Cody fatigue. I'm a Cody fan, and I don't have Cody fatigue, but I can see why people do for sure, and I'd love to see Cody take another route. He does better as a championship chaser as opposed to a champion, I think, in if that makes any sense. But anyway, so that's that. We're gonna get into Oba, Femi, and oops, I gotta unlock this. There we go. Oba versus Brock. Now, Oba's obviously the favorite at minus 300. Everybody wants him to win. Brock is a plus 200 on this as an underdog. A lot of people say that Brock doesn't need to win. I don't think Oba needs to win. I don't think either one needs to win. But here's the thing: does Brock need to keep losing matches after matches, could potentially until he retires or wrestles Gunther or whatever it's going to be? I think that's a little ridiculous to kind of end his career constantly losing. He's already passed the torch to Oba. Everybody knows Oba's the next big thing, and Brock has done a fabulous job selling that in their interactions, because this is probably have been the simplest and probably the best build up, because it was so simple for a match for this whole WrestleMania situation, similar to Drew and Fatu's build up. I'm picking Brock because, and I'd put money down, probably $5 down on Brock, just because I want Brock to win. I don't think either one needs it, to be honest with you. And I don't think it hurts Oba to lose to Brock. I don't. I know this is unpopular opinion or whatever else, but I think it will do more for Brock to win, oddly enough, than it would for Oba, because we already know Oba. And they could keep even because especially if Oba loses, it could still keep a good storyline going with this. But to make Oba the unstoppable force so soon, well, I think it hurts him because Brock did that whole thing when he came in, and I feel like if they have like a little thing where they can show that Oba is beatable, because he didn't even lose his championship when he left NXT. He vacated it, so I feel like they need to like kind of show a little bit of vulnerability. We've seen it with Brock already, but to have him Brock just show up to these events and losing. But either way, I'm looking for a big match. Um, this is will be free, so hopefully it's a solid 15 minutes of just brawling and just a good time. So I don't think you can go wrong with on either of that as far as who you're picking to win the ladder match. Penta's a favorite at -145. Javon Evans a second at +150. Rey Mysterio +450. Rusev a +1200. JD is a +1400, and Dragon Lee is a +1600. This is one of those matches. Again, I don't care who wins because it's going to be. I think this should be the show, the match that steals the show for sure. I think any of these guys who win could actually do really well. Rey Mysterio isn't in this one. I didn't realize that when I grabbed it off the internet. Uh, the great underdog story would be Dragon Lee because he's been busting his ass for so long, and he would deserve it. JD McDonough, same thing. Those are people who just aren't utilized enough. In pro, Dragon Lee has been a lot. Javon Evans, a lot of people think he will win, but I think it's too soon for him to win a championship, or at least a prestigious one like the Intercontinental Championship, and because he's got plenty of time. It's too soon. He doesn't really have. He's kind of just been showcasing himself and doing a fantastic job at that. I'd rather see somebody who's been here a little bit longer and earn their way. Rusev is going to go into the brooding, mean, stay with that thing. I would love to see this where Rey Mysterio wins, and it opens up the door for Dom wanting his belt, the belt back, and him wrestling Rey Mysterio. That'd be fantastic. So for me, I think this is a thing where you can't go wrong on who you pick for this. But for money wise, I will pick Rey Mysterio at a +450, and just for fun. This is one of those fun ones where it just doesn't really matter. Is there an educated guess? I don't know. So I'm gonna go with that. Who do I think WWE picks to win? Um, wouldn't shock me if it's Penta, and which is fine with. So next up is Finn Balor versus Dirty Dom. I'm so pissed that they ruined the surprise for the Demon coming back. This is what WWE and TKO just don't get it. Ruining people coming back, ruining these characters coming back, and they just ruin like so much shit where they can sit there and get like they're ruining their popularity by announcing this type of stuff. They're so stupid in their marketing. But who am I to say? I'm in a room that's not even decorated to do these type of shows. So, um, WWE loves Dirty Dom. I could see people picking him, but the Demon needs to win. He's what 1-1 in WrestleManias. He hasn't won in a while. Hasn't been around, and Finn seems to be getting a decent little push finally after a couple years of being out of it. This is one of those other ones where they've been building for a couple years behind the scenes a little bit, and if you've been paying attention, it's been worst kept secret in a subtle way. And they ruined building this up. They didn't even take the opportunity really to build this up at all. I think that's just heartbreaking because I think both these guys, again, can do it, and they would have done a great job doing it. They wasted their time on dumb shit like Rhea Ripley and Jade, and they wasted a lot of space on this and the Punk thing and whatever else, and Pat McAfee. Like they wasted a lot of opportunities to push a lot more matches better. But anyway, I'm going with the Demon at a -700 because that's who I want to win, and that's who I think they will pick to win. If they don't, they're stupid. Simple as that. Rhea Ripley, Jade Cargill. Rhea is a -500. Jade is a +300. It's obvious that Rhea needs to have the belt back, not because it's Rhea, just because the WWE needs to win the women's championship on someone who's a little bit more dominant, Jade, and more polished. Jade just seems to be struggling and trying to make this all work. She's got her faction now, which I actually like. I think it works well with what she's doing, and it brings BFAB and Michin a little bit more to the forefront where they deserve to be. I think they're great wrestlers, and the women need um, more prominence in the storylines. So I think this works well. So I think Rhea wins. I think everybody thinks Rhea wins. So not much of a shocker there. Sami Zayn versus Trick Williams, and my man Mello was left in the dark, and that just pisses me off on this. No one seems to be liking Sami Zayn, which I guess is kind of the point. But I mean, Trick. Eventually, this is probably gonna build up. Hopefully, a Trick Williams and Mello meeting up again because they have fantastic matches together. But why did you have to throw Sammy into this? It's dumb. It doesn't make sense. It's stupid. Um, Sammy's the underdog at a plus 200. Trick's obviously the favorite at a minus 300. We're gonna go with Trick Williams because Trick deserves it and can go further with this, and he's a huge fan favorite, which is probably why they kind of booted Mello out because he was somewhat of a fans like him, but they seem to be growing on him more finally, and they just fucking demolished it, and that just pisses me off. What a bad approach to this. Anyway, so hopefully Sammy loses. I've had Sammy fatigue for quite a while, and I think he can figure out how to make it roll anyway without the belt. He doesn't need it. So Punk Roman Reigns, another one that's just been like what, whatever to me. So the Joe TC is the favorite at a minus 250. Phil is a plus 170. This is another one of those ones where it could go either way. I'd put money down on Phil winning, and which is fine. I don't like belts being on people, like I said, who aren't there that often. But it makes for an interesting storyline to put it back on Roman Reigns, I think, and Phil can make or CM Punk can make anything work for him regardless. But again, I hate championships on people who just aren't present and gonna fight. And Phil wasn't fighting with the belt on anyway. Would he have one match with it? So he hasn't really been a fighting champion anyway since he's got it. So I don't know. Whatever. I don't care about this match. The big matches for me this week. Like I said, I put money down on CM Punk. You can't go wrong either way. I think so. Regardless. But the only matches I think are worthwhile that I'm paying attention to. I think the biggest match of the night, where I think a majority of people think the biggest match of the night, is the Obafemi and Brock Lesnar match. And as long as it doesn't become a squash match on either end, some people say that they'd want that, which is ridiculous because it's an undeserved thing to have as a squash match with these two giants. We haven't had big guys going at it in a while. The ladder match, obviously, with all that talent around, and Rusev as a dark horse, as far as he's not a high flyer, is interesting to me and how that'll work. And Finn and Dom and Drew and Fatu are those are the top four matches that I'm looking at in the Liv Morgan match. The rest of them, whatever. The main event matches, no one seems to care about either. So, anyway, so that's where I am on that. Thank you for watching. Those are the quick picks, and enjoy the thing. And I'm gonna hope you now that football is just up to the draft, get more into wrestling stuff to talk about and other things as well. But thank you for watching. Appreciate it, and enjoy WrestleMania.